Welcome to Live with Sensei. I'm your host, Jay Haynes, for the Film Sensei YouTube channel. In this 8th episode of our inaugural live streaming season, I'm hosting a roundtable discussion regarding Action Pro. Before we begin, I do want to give some shout outs, so leave a comment in the chat room so that I can recognize who's in the house. And I'm delighted to have Greg Ray, who's known as Gray Motion, with me today to talk about Action Pro. Greg and I probably were the first two people that actually bought this software when it came out 2 years ago. And it was like the Thanksgiving Day sale of November 23rd, 2017. You bought it. I bought it. I bought it sight unseen. Maybe you did too.
Sight unseen. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even know exactly what it could do, but I said, well, let me try it and see what happens. FX Home is a great company and they have great products, and I'm sure I'll love this one too. And so I bought it, and then I started playing with it, and then I made a video. And at the same time I was making a video, you were making a video, and we both put our videos out almost at exactly the same time. And then we kind of laughed about the fact that we had just basically done the same thing twice there. Right. But welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for the invite.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about that. But first, let me just say Bazio is in the house. It's great to have you, sir. Anybody else who has not commented, please feel free to do that, and we'll let you know. I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened. Like I said, this Action Pro software was released on November 23rd, 2017. It was a 0.1 beta version. Or basically it was just a beta, and then in just a couple of weeks or maybe just a few days later, they brought out a fix of some bug fixes, and also they added snapping to the timeline, which probably should have been there to begin with. Then February of 2018 of last year, they came out with another update, and that thank you, R2. That's my R2 unit telling us that we're live streaming now. So they came out in February of last year with a beta 2 or 0.3, and that was a big one because basically it took the data and separated it into its own X, Y, and Z rotations and movements so that you could just work with each one in a different point. And that was a pretty nice thing to see. That was something that we all said we really wanted to see. And then a year ago, they came out with 0.4, and it really, it had a couple of things in there. You could import a background image to sketch over, and then there was some bug fixes, and that was it. And then right before the 1-year anniversary, they came out with 0.5, and that basically just added some more bug fixes, some enhancements, things like that. There wasn't any major change to it. And at that time, we were kind of like, this hasn't really gone where we were hoping it was going to go. Action Pro is supposed to be a, sort of a motion capture software where you could use something like a Leapster or, anything to move and get motion as well as the camera looks and things like that. And boy, that would really be cool if you could take that organic movement and bring it into your hit film project and be able to use it. And I actually did do that. Before we move on, I'll welcome Terry with 4K Productions. Great to have you, sir.
Terry.
Yeah, great to see you. Let me show this here. There's the Action Pro, but let me just real quickly drop in here. I have an example here of, this is Action Pro. This is a spaceship flying around through, asteroids. And I use Action Pro just to real quickly create some nice organic movement of that spaceship. And Greg used it to create, with a particle sim. You can see there's obviously a particle sim on this with the smoke trail and stuff. The idea being though that you wouldn't have to animate it, frame by frame kind of thing, but instead you could just create it. And I just used a Wacom tablet to do that. And basically any kind of a mouse emulator, that's what it's for, and that's what it does. And then Kirsty came out. She's in charge of marketing at FX Home, and very kindly, kind of kept us in the loop and said, basically, in 2008, Hit Film Pro has become far more popular than we could ever expect. And as a result, our development team became stretched. So we're a small company. We weren't able to put in as much development as we wanted to in Action Pro. And we know that this isn't good enough. So we've taken steps to ensure that Action Pro has now a dedicated effort being put forth in the updates. Then she went on to say, we're going to come out with an update in the next 2 weeks, which they did. And also, we're going to give everyone who owns it an additional 6 months of updates for free, which is a really nice thing to do. And so then, the next version came out. And then in February of this year, the version 1.0 came out. And basically, that added some interesting things. It added perfectly shaped circles, curves, and Archimedean spirals and things like that. They added slice tool and stretch tool, some of the things that are in Hit Film that would be nice to have. And they even said we're coming out with an action pencil for your iOS. If you had this is not an iOS, it's an Android, but if I had one, then I could use that to do my motion, and it'll be in the store soon. And that was in February 27th. And that is the last update that we've had. And so a week and a half ago, some folks were saying, hey, wondering what's going on. Obviously nothing has happened. Can we get our money back? And she wrote, so Kirsty again replied and said, let me see. Earlier this year, a tragic circumstance meant that our development team has had to shuffle around in order to deliver the necessary resource to our largest products, which are Hit Film Pro and Emerge, which Emerge came out in September of last year. Unfortunately, Action Pro is the smallest product in of our product range, and with the smallest development team, and at the most risk of delay. You are not obligated to purchase any new versions until a new update is released. She went on to say that our refund policy is for only 14 days, and so we're unable to provide a refund. And she said, we're planning on coming out with a new update over the next few months, and everyone that owns Action Pro will get that update whether or not they are out of the renewal period. So even if you have not renewed, you still will get the next update, whatever is in that update. And either Josh or herself will post on the forum as soon as they get more information. So, Greg, have you updated?
I do have Pro One. I played with it. I stay up on the updates when they come out. So
yeah, I have the most. I have the most recent one, but not on my new computer, and I did not pay for an upgrade. In other words, I have not. I'm out of the upgrade period.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm 79 days removed or something like that. I don't know. Maybe longer.
So yeah, I don't know. Where it's going, but that's basically what has happened. And let me see. Flying Banana is in the house. Good to have you, sir. I'm glad you're here. No, I haven't seen it when it first came out, but was waiting to see how it went before making the plunge. I think that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Because, here's my opinion, and then I'll ask you for yours. But my opinion is this is a great piece of software that has a lot of potential, but it just hasn't realized that potential.
Right. Great idea. In fact, when we were talking in the green room, I've really never seen any other concept like that, really, in my little world, so to speak. Come from a lot of Motion 5 stuff where they use behaviors, so you don't have a trillion keyframes on a timeline.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I'd never seen anything, remotely like it. So it intrigued me when it first came out. So, hey, and like you, I like VFX Home, and I'll give them some money so they can grow,
Absolutely. And that was sort of part of my thing too. You know, part of my thing was that, you know, it's a great company and I want to support it. And so, you know, even though I'd have really not a clue what this is doing, you know, if it's related to hit film, and it is, boy, I would really like to support it, you know. And at the same time, I also upgraded my hit film subscription, you know, my next set of updates on that. So you know, I did that, and I spent the money on Action Pro at the same time. So Terry says, I think I have the original demo version, but unlike you guys, I haven't opened it up much since then. Well, Terry, I got to tell you that I have had my new computer, the one I'm on now, probably 8 months, and I haven't installed it on this computer. So I can tell you that I haven't opened it up in a long time either. I talked with Mike Miller earlier today, and he said he hasn't opened it up in over a year. And, you know, he said the biggest thing that he felt was the issue was that it is Josh Davies' personal project. And so it develops, or the development of it suffers because Josh is the CEO and he has stuff to do. And, you know, he doesn't have time necessarily to devote to something like that. So.
Hey, Flying Banana, I'm just going to ask him. He can hear me. Lightwave had something similar, spline control. Hey, Bud, have you ever ran across anything that uses data from a CSV sheet to get animation data? Have you ever heard anything like that?
That's a good question. The one of the things that, let me see if I can pull it up here where is it? Oh, here it is. Update history. The update history of Action Pro talks about, wait a minute, let me bring it up here for you. Can you guys see it there?
Yeah.
You know, that there is this ability to add right here. The software can now import CSV files and convert them to animation data, which in turn can be exported into hit film. And I don't know what that means. You know, do you?
No.
I don't. You know, I didn't. Maybe other products must use CSV, which is basically a Excel spreadsheet type of a file, to place the data in. And then, so what they're saying is you can bring it in and then export it to be used for hit film, which would be cool, but I don't know what other product uses that. So,
right.
And Flying Banana says he's not sure. So,
yeah, closest thing I can think of, I used to develop a lot of web pages, and you can animate CSS files on web pages with CSV data. You know, so, you know, complex web animations. You know, but greatest example is geez, I don't even know. Used to be a big thing, making complex web animations for landing pages.
It'd be
an interactive website, kind of very complex animations for data. You know,
I'm wondering if what would be cool is if I could get a look at or a copy of one of those files to see, is it X, Y, Z, and these columns? You know, I mean, how does it work? Does it go sideways? I don't even know. I don't even know what that means. Could you put it in? You know, could you put your own data in and then bring it in that way? You know, I have no idea. You know, there must be a timeline, right? I mean, there must be data for time, for X, Y, and Z.
Well, you know, like
I have no idea.
Mike says, you know, I mean, I'm a novice video guy, right? When people say you have to know math when you're doing animations, I just kind of laugh. But really, you need to know math to make complex animations.
Right.
I mean, you just can't whip out your pencil and draw stuff. You know, you got a lot of perfect math in order to create the behavior you want, like a spinning triangle, you know, a tunnel of spinning triangles, you know, at different areas, you know, kind of like the particle sims that, you know, using a particle sim, but you're using a solid. You know, I would say that you would use a solid other than a line drawn item, you know, but So
Well, and that's
we had to figure out where they were going with the hand animation. I guess, what your perfect example flying through the asteroid field there.
yeah. Well, and I created, and again, because it's you can, and you could draw all you want, and it records that organic movement, and that's really what we're doing. It's a motion capture software, basically, but it's cheap. I mean, it's if it had, the original video had him wearing a VR headset that when he turned, the camera would, the virtual camera turned.
Right.
And when he moved this thing around, that he had the Leapster thing,
Well,
it recorded that data.
I'm sure.
Like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm sure that was Oculus One or Oculus Two.
Yeah, it was something. I don't even remember what it was, but I know this thing was the Leapster thing.
Right.
And people were. I personally was like, wow, this is really cool. And I got it, and I actually used my mouse, and I went, and I basically emulated a spaceship landing, right? And then I took just the Z data, and I used, I keyframed the Y and X data, but that downward data I used to land a spaceship, and I made a video of it. Remember, it was part of my video on a landing platform, and it looked really real. It looked really cool.
Right. Yeah, and I have to go back and look at that. I remember when you did that. I've always figured out landing pads are done backwards. Draw your animation backwards.
Right.
Landing point backwards.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to keyframe it, yeah. If you're going to, but if you're I just drew a line and said, here it is.
Right.
And it was like, man, that looks great. Because I did it myself.
You exceeded me that day. I was like, okay, because way more hands than I do.
Well, and then the other thing that I did that was really nice is I wanted to make a video on how to do a dogfight in space, and I was using the follow behaviors that were brand new in HitFilm, and they really are cool. So you have this point that's flying, and then you say that point, follow it, and you can determine how much strength of follow it has and how quickly it follows and things like that. And I thought, my gosh, this is perfect for one ship, chasing another. What I need is, a randomly moving ship. How can I do that? And I quickly said, oh, Action Pro would be perfect for this. So I recorded it twice, once for the X and Y axes, and then I recorded a Z axis also. Another time I just keyframe Z to go from here, there, and then the rest of it was random, and doing it that way worked really well because it was so organic. And then I just replicated it several times, and I had this huge dogfight literally within minutes. I mean, it was really beautiful. So for that kind of a thing, you can really, really do some neat stuff. And, but that's as far as it ever got. And so ultimately, I think my opinion is that Action Pro has great potential as a product, and it's just really unfortunately, that it has only reached a certain point of the potential. It hasn't gotten hasn't gotten close to where it could be.
Right. Well, and yeah, you know what? I agree with you. Whatever I'm agreeing, and I got sidetracked. I did a search for CSV file animations and Blender.
Okay.
Oh my God. Yes. Looks like I'll be doing some serious reading.
Oh.
Because you can import CSV animation paths using animation nodes in Blender.
Oh. Okay.
And there's a whole search. Well, there's pages and pages of animation and rigging using CSV files.
Wow. Well, IVH here says that is often used X, Y, and Z positions, but can also be temperature over time, which could be, if you wanted to do a graph or something using, the particle sim, you could definitely do that,
Right.
Doorbell.
Right.
Doing math. That must explain why he's so bad at this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Making line graphs from CSV data, coordinate data. Right. Okay, so I'm looking at all kinds of interesting stuff there. So that's something to follow up on that.
Well, absolutely. But in the meantime, what do you think? And I'll ask everybody who's in the live stream right now. What do you think needs to happen from here? Where are we going? What should we see?
Well, I think I think just some clarity on how to use the software, introduce it to people. They kind of released it and said, "Here you go." There's really you do tutorials. I did one, maybe to show different what it can be done with it. Like the Christmas tree animation I was talking to you about earlier.
Right.
And then expanding and just clarity. I don't think they need to upgrade to Leap animation Oculus headset gear. And, I think get it refined first and then add those. I have an Oculus 2 headset, brand new for my drone that I haven't even used yet. Come to find out, I can use it on everything that's Oculus 2.
That's always a feature.
God, I'm excited. But yeah, I mean, just renewed interest. I know there's FX Home is a small team. But if we could just, I can do some more animations, come up with some different ideas, show what it can be used for other than just signing your name. Like,
right.
Which
I did also.
Right. A lot of people have no clue, including me. I mean, animation software, make it easy, but yeah, if they reintroduce it to us, even with a simple, hey, sorry, here's a 5-minute video on how to do this with a mouse, make up something cool. That way they can regain interest. Regains users, beta testers, beta. Get input from the people, what they want without going crazy. Hey, I want this input. I want that input. Get the basics of the thing down first. And then, expand into Oculus and
sure.
Like you say, we use, sorry.
That's all right.
What is it? $59, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I have. I have one of those myself. I don't know if I can get it up here in front of the camera here, but ta-dum! There's mine, right? And it's a tablet, right? With a pen. And all you do is you just start, you just start, drawing. And it works much better, by the way, than the mouse. But basically all we have is a mouse and a mouse emulator like a tablet, right? Or maybe a trackball or something. And Kakibaz, and I hope I spelled it or pronounced it right, Kakibaj, right? Gamepad controller support would be really cool.
Yeah.
If you could add gamepad controller, something that everybody has, like, a Wii remote or something, anything would be better than a mouse. Really.
So I'm an old guy. I did play games with my kid, but they made me buy a Xbox 360. So that's so the gamepad controller, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or your phone. If you could figure out a way to Bluetooth your phone to your laptop and be able to, use the gyroscope and controls and just fly it like a spaceship around the room and it record that, oh my God, that would be absolutely a game changer.
Well, and then you went there anyways. Listen, there is probably an app on the web that you can record your phone data in CSV format. I mean, CSV is the, oldest format alive, Excel, Excel data sheets.
Well, yeah.
So, there may be stuff out there already.
There could be. I never thought about that.
I mean, the younger generation would have to tune me into all that stuff,
Yeah, you and me both. That's the problem.
I'm just following their lead, basically.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, just help us along. Show us there's still interest. I mean, there's interest, right? We're talking about it. You and me are customers, paying customers.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see it. I'm sure there's plenty of other folks who bought it, downloaded it, didn't even have a clue what it did. So, I don't know what to do with this. Okay, great. So, yeah.
Well, if I could stick my phone on a little, Matchbox car and drive it around on the table, and be able to bring that thing right into my, into hit film on a virtual reality and make a virtual car drive around, the street, that'd be just really cool, man. You could probably still do that with a mouse. I'm not saying you can't. It's just, it'd really be cool if you had other input devices. I think that's it.
Yeah, a mouse is really jittery too. It leaves a lot of jittery lines.
Yep, and one of the updates actually gave you better control over smoothing that out. And one of the things that you can do in Action Pro is there's a slider that allows you to smooth out things, but it's still pretty jittery. I use my tablet; it's much smoother with the tablet for sure.
As long as you don't smash it like a number 2 pencil.
Yeah. Yeah. And Josh came out with a video originally, and then he came out with a second one, and he recently came out with a third one. Have you seen the third one?
No, I actually went back and watched his very first release video this morning.
Or did you?
I didn't happen to see. I'll have to search around the tube.
Hang on, I think I've got it here. Wait a minute, let me find it. It's and it is, I think it's this right here. Right? You see that?
Yeah. Oh.
And
what's he doing here?
This is the one where he's using his Android or his iOS device.
That's it. That's okay. So he's using that's an Apple Pencil, right?
Yeah. Right.
All right. So
he's recording it right into
the data, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that's the new one that he came out. It wasn't that long ago that he came out with it.
Okay.
So let me see.
IVH hooked up an old
joystick.
Cool. To a new oscilloscope and wow. Okay.
Are you kidding? You can do that?
Okay. Wow. See, holy geez. Look at
that. We got to talk to you.
Is that his handle? 4H?
4H.
4H. Right? Roman numeral 4H.
4H. That makes sense.
Does that make sense? And cool, dude. Cool.
I'm gonna have to talk to you about how you do that. That's pretty. Yeah, that's a really cool idea.
Right.
But maybe that is a segue that you and I need to look into, Greg. Other ways of getting the data into Action Pro.
Right. Oh yeah.
Through the back door, so to speak.
I'll be definitely looking at this CSV stuff. I mean, it looks like it's been around for a long time, and evidently I've been cruising car websites or something. I don't know. Too many models. Looking for too many models.
Yeah, models of cars.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what I think we ought to do is we ought to work on that, and then see if we can come out with a video, like a tutorial video on what we find out. What do you think?
Yeah. Absolutely. I'll work on some stuff. I got this whole week, and since you got the momentum going, I'm going to try and do something right away to follow up with this for you. So
that'd be awesome. Well, I know you guys in Colorado have a blizzard going on right now, getting 8 inches of snow, something like that.
8 inches of snow. It's kind of funny. Guys from Wyoming came down and said, "Oh, this is the banana belt. We work here all the time." They left this morning. It just started snowing. It's like,
yeah. See how they are.
You see any banana trees in eastern Colorado?
Well, I'm in Virginia. I'm from Colorado Springs. I was born and raised there. I lived there 50 years before I moved here. And now I live here, but it's rough. It's been tough, man. It's rough. It's 70 degrees. The sun is shining, but we'll make it. We'll find a way.
Yeah. I lived in Florida for a year. I was way too hot. I had to exit the whole East Coast, had too many people. So, Colorado, here I am. But what happened? They all followed me here.
See how that turned out.
Population in Colorado is Texas and California.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's exactly right. don't even get us started on that. I'm a native. I'm a native of Colorado.
Oh, wow.
I was born there and raised there. I went to the University of Colorado in Boulder, and there you go.
All right.
You can tell I don't do live streams during the day because I got my window shining on me here. Don't I look good?
I seen that. You can't tell I'm in a basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Lovely.
It says computer room. Go downstairs.
There you go. Good plan. Good plan. My wife said computer room, go upstairs. That's what she said.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll do what I can to keep a little bit of interest, and just re-spark some interest. And if anybody has the software that's blowing dust, maybe doing a couple tutorials will
pull it out,
let them get some enjoyment out of the software that they bought. And
I think that's a good idea. Shake the cobwebs off of it. Maybe we'll post a little bit in the forums. If everybody who's watching right now, and even people who are watching after the fact here, if you guys post something in the forum, say, boy, I'm really, still keen on this software and would love to, see it keep going, that might light a little bit of a fire with, the folks over at FX Home. They say, there is interest and we do want to, keep it going. And I personally would love to continue to see the software going. I don't want to say anything bad about FX Home because I really love this company and I know their heart's in the right place. And I think that this software is a really great idea. It just hasn't really reached the full potential. And it's just more sad than, I'm not angry about it. I'm just sad about it.
Well, yeah. And, end user demand drives production of anything. So
you sound like a business owner.
I hate that when that comes out like that. I apologize.
Hey, I owned this business in Colorado Springs for years. 30 years I was a business owner myself, so I can appreciate it. Good. But you're right. Absolutely right. If the customers are clamoring for something, you're going to fill that need, or that want, as it were.
You should. If
you're a smart business, and the people at FX Home are really smart, and they do listen to the customers probably more than the 90% of all businesses out there.
Yeah, and listen, how hard is it to be a software developer when OSs are changing every 6 months?
Yeah.
How you buy software 2 years ago, you think it should last 5 on your operating system. You upgrade twice, and there's software breaks. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, and look at Action Pro. It doesn't right now. It's not working on the.
Yeah, it won't fire on Catalina Mac anymore at all. So
yeah, so that would probably have to be the first update. We got to get it current with the operating system.
If you're selling to Mac users, they do have indispensable income. After all, they buy $6,000 machines,
right?
And if it's there, they will buy it.
Right. I agree, especially at the price point that it is. I mean, it's a very inexpensive price point for what it potentially could do.
Right.
I'm not on a Mac. I'm on a PC, and it works great for me still.
You should get a Mac.
I should.
Your PC for heavy load stuff for rendering.
Yeah.
But if you bought a new Mac, you wouldn't need a PC neither. But yeah, I mean, Mac, you'd freak out.
Well, I just upgraded my PC.
You can't break a Mac.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Can't
but I've never owned one. So Snipe Flem Films wants to know what we're talking about. We are talking about Action Pro, and what we would like to see happen to it in the future. We're just about ready to wrap it up here, though. I think. Any last thoughts you have, Greg?
No. Other than I'll commit to doing what I said. Put out a few videos, make it happen. Bug Josh a little bit in the forums, not directly but indirectly, and just go from there.
Yeah. Well, and they want to know our opinion. How many companies care about that now? And he's right. Vazio is right. They ask regularly, please let us know what's going on. What do you want to see? And you know what? They listen too, because they deliver it. I remember when Andrew Kramer came out with the grunge effects, and the glow of things and this and that. And everybody was like, man, it'd really be cool if you could do that in hit film. And I did a couple of tutorials on sort of how to replicate that. But then they came out with Surface Studio, 6 months later. When they said, let's get this done, and they did it. And not just any company does that. So, I think that if we let them know that we're still interested in this product and we really do want to see it, go somewhere, they will make it happen. They really will. So
agreed.
All right, I promise that I will do another tutorial on it as well. I'll have to come up with some ideas on some things, and you and I can keep in touch though, because we might be working on the same kinds of things, and maybe we can work together on it even.
Yeah, I can work with you, and I promise I won't draw my name again.
Greg.
Tree ornament idea. I really like that Achillary spiral. That looks like a perfect idea for a Christmas tree, Terry.
It does, Terry.
All right.
All right. Well, that's great. I appreciate you being on here, Greg.
Thanks for the invite.
It's a pleasure. Always a pleasure to have you. We're looking at having some more guests coming on. I have several people who have indicated that they're interested in being on the live stream. So we still have in the works our live stream for young aspiring filmmakers as well. And we where I'm getting them all together. I have people from the East Coast, East Africa, from Europe and England, as well as here in the United States, so all over the place. We're gonna get them all together on the same day in the same place and talk about filmmaking and what it's like to be a young aspiring filmmaker. So in the meantime, though, I appreciate everybody being here, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks a lot, guys.